It's the moment you didn't know you're waiting for.
He is Carter.
He's Chad.
And this is the Irish 365 podcast.
Chad, this is Lou Holtz. That's head coach of Notre Dame for 11 years. Greatest experience of my life. They're starting a Notre Dame podcast this summer. I have a podcast as well, but it's not about Notre Dame football, although I wish there were. But congratulations on your success. And it would be nice if I could be on your podcast, but my schedule is so hectic. But anything that has to do with Notre Dame, I'm all for it. God bless you. Go Irish.
Welcome into the Irish 365 podcast, episode 35. We got the Sugar Bowl
Review. We're reviewing the Sugar Bowl, and what an experience the Sugar Bowl was in all kinds of ways. It was historic. It had a lot of meaning, a lot of concern. It just brought a little bit of everything in the Sugar Bowl experience, that's for sure. So
yeah, I mean, I think we got to start off the show. Just thoughts and prayers out to everyone in the city of New Orleans. I mean, what a horrific,
what a terrible event.
And
prayers and thoughts with the victims and their families. And it's always sad when there's a tragedy, and it just, I think for both of us, it really dampened the mood of attending the event, as excited as we were to go.
Yeah.
But it just put a lot of things in perspective. And, you know, we talk about it before, the best thing about sports is we care so much about something that means so little. And in that day, it really highlighted how little sports meant to us.
Yep.
And the delay of the game was the right thing to do. You know, and I think we talked about it for about a half a second in regards to, do we not go? Do we just turn around and leave? You know, what do we do? And it's like, well, hey, if you don't go to the game, the terrorist wins. So you got to go to the game.
Yep.
And shout out to the police departments and the New Orleans and the greater area.
Yeah.
I don't think I've ever felt safer attending an event in my entire life.
No, I mean, that place, I read stuff that was like that. The Superdome was probably one of the safest spots in the world that day.
Yeah.
On January 2nd for that game. It was like the security did an incredible job. Everyone's hospitable. I know they had so much going on, so much to deal with, but all the staff was still super friendly, super hospitable. And I mean, you could tell everyone in that stadium, Notre Dame and Georgia fans, just grateful for everything that everyone was doing to put that event on still.
Yeah, and I think that's it. I think, you know, not to say there's not idiot Georgia fans or idiot Notre Dame fans, but I think as a whole, they're both very classy fan bases.
Yep.
And that probably helped the situation with the police. Everybody understood. Everybody had a sense of like gratefulness and like, hey, a little bit of security, additional checks, whatever. We're all good. And there was a lot of people showing up early in anticipation of the extra security. So I think that made it helpful to the authorities as far as getting people in and getting the event off and timely. So yeah, it was kind of a crazy day for us. I mean, we got up January 1st here in home base, and we're going to drive to the airport and fly down.
Yeah.
And, you know, you'd hit me up before we left and said, did you see what happened in New Orleans? And I'm like, no, I haven't looked at the news yet. I've just been getting ready. And
yeah, I mean, I'm a 23-year-old. First thing I do when I normally get up in the morning is get on the old Twitter or X, and that's just what I do, see what's going on. I mean, it's freaking Sugar Bowl game day. I'm pumped up when I wake up. Like, I knew we're leaving to drive to the airport, and then we're flying down day of game. Just one of my normal game day routines or normal days to get on Twitter and just check it out. And then I was like, not what you expect when getting up.
Yeah. So it a lot of concerns because at that point there was a lot of unknowns. We got in the car and drove toward the airport, and we had a 2-hour drive to the airport, and we were checking social media and not getting a lot of information. We used the app on the phone and was looking at local news sources and not getting a lot of information. And ultimately, we decided that we were going. We were going, and that's just this.
We didn't think our safety was in.
Yeah, we didn't feel like we were doing anything stupid as far as putting ourselves in danger. Had we felt like our others or ourselves were at personal risk of injury, we wouldn't have gone. But did not feel that way at all on this one. So it was like, okay, we're going to go.
Yep.
And we were going to spend some time with a friend of mine. But his stepdaughter was in the French Quarter the night before. They had some communication error that morning, so a lot of uneasiness. Thank goodness everything was good there. It was just a communication error, kids being kids kind of a thing, not communicating effectively in a serious situation. So yeah, it really darkened the whole thing for me pretty quickly, and I think you and I made arrangements and was like, okay, let's get on the ground here at the airport. Let's figure out what we're doing.
Yeah, so when we leave our airport, we're out of Detroit. The game was still on as planned, and the press conference was scheduled to be right before we actually left, but then it got delayed 2 hours, so it was in flight.
Yep.
So it's definitely an interesting situation. The guy next to me on the plane had Wi-Fi, and we literally found out 3/4 way through, like, all right, the game's pushed back. We gotta get a game plan now.
Yeah, we were told 24 hours on the flight, and what would you say, about 30% of our flight, 40% of our flight was coming down for the game?
Yeah, it was incredible.
Yeah, there was a lot of people flying out of the Detroit airport coming down the morning of, and a lot of people had that 8 a.m. flight the day after. They were coming down, watching the game, flying out the next morning.
Yep.
So everybody was talking about, what are they doing? Are they getting back on the plane? Are they going back? I think the guy next to you decided he was going to turn around and get right back on the plane and go right back. He wasn't going to stick around for another day. So he was going to try and move his flight up earlier. The gentleman that sat next to me, Bill Graham, and his son, I believe, was Nick. Gosh, I hope it was Nick. They were excited about coming down, and there was no way they were leaving. They were going to make arrangements, and their flight was the 8:00 flight the next morning. There was actually a guy who had 2 extra tickets. I thought that was interesting on the flight. So there was a contest, and he was raffling off 2 extra seats.
Yep.
If you didn't already have seats, and we kind of joked, Bill, the guy next to me, and I joked, like, well, maybe the seats are better than ours. We want to find out. Can we upgrade? But that wasn't part of the contest, so they gave away 2 tickets to the game to somebody on the flight down who wasn't intending to go to the game, which I thought was interesting. So we landed on the ground, and we said, okay, we've got to reassess all of our plans. What are we doing? So plan number 1 was, okay, when is this game taking place? And we were told 24 hours at that point still. We hadn't heard it. The time had moved up. So we secured a rental car because we decided that we weren't going to stay in the French Quarter area or in New Orleans, because we were told that New Orleans hotels were still in lockdown at that point. Yep. So it's like, okay, we're not going to go to a hotel and be on lockdown. So we decided to travel about an hour outside of the city. We went to Baton Rouge. Yeah. As we were getting on the car to go to the rental car counter to pick up a rental car, the driver of the bus was like, rumor is they might move this game to LSU. And I'm like, well, I don't see that, but that would be awesome if they do, because we're on our way to Baton Rouge right now. That's where we got a hotel there. And, and that's where we're driving to get out of the city. So our plan was to basically get away from all the madness, not be an extra person in the way, go hit a hotel and watch some bowl games, right?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, we were going to go watch the Rose Bowl. I mean, that was going on. I fully expected a great game there, and just, kind of want to get out of the madness. We had a pretty good idea at that point what was going on, but it was like, you know what, there's not crazy amount of hotels right outside New Orleans. You kind of got to go one way or another, and never been, because it's just where it's at. So we're like, let's go to Baton Rouge, cheaper hotels. College campus is on Christmas break or winter break,
so it won't be crazy
busy. So it's just a nice spot to kind of get an hour away from the airport.
Yeah, so we got an hour northwest of the city, hit the hotel. It was a nice hotel. Started watching some football and some good games and some disappointing games for the most part. Yeah. And somewhere on the drive, I think, is when we learned the game was in fact going to stay at the Superdome, but it was being moved up to 1 o'clock or
3 o'clock local. Yep.
Local time. So it's like, okay, well, now we know what we're in for.
Yep.
So then we started working on just securing logistics to the game, and our route back to Fort Wayne involved driving. So we were getting a one-way rental from the airport to drive a mere 13 hours.
Yeah,
no big deal.
That was it.
That was easy. So anyway, we made the arrangements in that respect. We got the car squared away to get back to Fort Wayne, secured some parking, which I thought was interesting because I was looking at parking and I found a really good deal on parking right at the Superdome. And I'm like, well, this is going to be either really good or really bad. But let's go for it, because it looked like it was easy getting out. It was basically pull out of the parking lot, turn right, get on the interstate, and start heading northeast. So we had a plan. Now it was just waiting out time. Got a chance to walk around the LSU campus a little bit. Did not get to see Tiger Mike, unfortunately. He was at feeding, and he was back in his feeding area, not in his habitat. But if you ever make it to the LSU campus, there's a big just tiger exhibit area like a zoo, but you don't pay admission or anything else. You just kind of walk on campus, and there's this really cool space for Tiger Mike. What'd you say, $3 million?
Like 2005.
In 2005, they spent like $3 million to build a really nice, high-level zoo quality, just place to house the live mascot Tiger Mike for LSU. So that was cool. We walked around LSU's campus a brief time, hit a little local pizza wing place that was solid. We definitely go back, I think. Yeah, and then got a good night's rest. Because being New Year's Eve the night before, we both stayed up past midnight, didn't get a great night's sleep, but we were ready for it. Got a good night's sleep, made our way down to New Orleans, and yeah, traffic was really easy on the way back into the city.
Yeah.
No problems there. Got off the interstate, and the Superdome's right there off the interstate. So pulling into the security guard, I don't know, maybe half mile.
I was gonna say half mile or 3/4 mile away. We're like, man, this light like is green, and people are moving. Like you kind of made this left, and then it was a little 10th mile of a street underneath the bridge, and it was like, man, why is this so backed up? And once we made the turn, we realized like there was multiple cops out there, but one was like checking to make sure everyone had a parking pass and was sending them in the right direction.
Yeah, you'd had to have a parking pass to get in closer.
Yeah, you could not just be driving down there. I mean, you had a parking pass. They were checking. Once we made it past him, we didn't sit crazy long, like 5-6 minutes, but like it was like
it wasn't crazy. It was crazy for the distance we were still away from the stadium, but it wasn't crazy how long we were in that line.
Yeah.
But yeah, so we got to the parking garage where our parking pass was. I've never been stopped and had to have the bomb sniffing dog go through the car. But
yep, windows down. Had to pop open the trunk.
Yeah,
yep.
I'm okay with all of that.
Yeah.
Under the circumstances, I'd rather be overcautious than undercautious.
It was just definitely like a thing. Like I think I'll remember that forever. Just like going to a football game and like, yeah, our car's getting sniffed by bombs. It's just like that's nuts. But I mean, so thankful they did. Again, thankful for all the people who put the extra precautions in place.
Yeah. So yeah, we got in, and our parking spot was a few hundred feet.
Yeah.
It felt like once we finally parked and walked to the stadium, it was easy breezy. They had plenty of security guards and plenty of security gates open.
Yeah.
It was pretty easy to get in that respect.
Yeah, I've obviously never been to the Superdome before, but it literally looked like they had 20 different spots for people to enter the area. So it was like we didn't wait in line long. I mean, the security was like
it was efficient.
It was efficient. So I was just really surprised. We were fully anticipating staying in line for 20, 30 minutes, I think.
Oh yeah, I expected the delay to be going into the building.
Yeah.
The security guard. I was thinking, Yankee Stadium this year.
Yeah.
Like it's going to be a long line to get through security.
Yep. And it was fully just anticipating that and ready for it.
Yeah, but they surprised me, and trying to think through, and I'm sure you do as well. You think about game day ops, and I just think about the efficiency of operations. Just work doesn't. It's like, well, okay, if you're going to do this, it's probably better to slow people down a mile, 3/4 of a mile away from the stadium in their car, and have that be the backup and the choke point. Because if someone was going to try and do something to harm people, you don't want them out. You don't want them to be able to congregate outside the security line, right?
Yeah.
I mean, if there was somebody that had a knife or whatever and wanted to hurt some people. A long line prior to the metal detector was a bad thing. So get them through the metal detector as fast as you can, so that if there is any lines getting into the building or getting into concessions or whatever, it's pretty safe. Like there's nobody that has any kind of nefarious activity that they can do or any kind of weapon on them or anything of that nature. So yeah, I think it was really, again, New Orleans. They hosted Super Bowls. They've hosted the Sugar Bowl every year.
Yep.
They had a really good game plan for game day ops, I think, to get us in. So
yeah,
that was awesome. So then we get in and we get to our seats. About an hour early?
Yeah, I mean, I think at this point, 60 to 70 minutes before kickoff. I mean, we were planning on being there early just because security and everything like that, and we're fine being in the game early. So yeah, I mean, we get to the seats, and I think it's
pretty good seats.
Yeah, we were 22 rows up in the Notre Dame end zone. It's probably the best way. Obviously, one end zone's labeled Notre Dame, other one's Georgia.
Yep.
Notre Dame end zone, 22 rows up. Yeah.
In 2-3 sections to our right was the Notre Dame band.
5 or 6 to our left.
Yeah, I gotta say 7 or 8 maybe.
Yeah.
Not many to our left was the Georgia band. So
yeah,
we were kind of nestled in a great spot between two college bands. Kind of that blending line where everything south of us, I don't know which direction it was. Everything to our right would have been Notre Dame fans. Everything to our left would have been basically the Georgia fans. And we're kind of in that area where the two bodies intersected and came across.
Yeah.
Again, we sat around Georgia fans. And again, I can't say it enough. I mean, Georgia fans are generally classy. Not to say there's not a couple of idiot Georgia
Barking's
fans.
annoying, but
there's not a couple. The bark sounds a lot like the Hoosiers. I don't know why. But not to say there's not some idiot Notre Dame fans as well. But overall, I think it was very good. We were in a section where I think a lot of just good fans, good people. It was just a good environment. I mean, which was cool. I think for us, it added to the whole experience of just being there and being amongst kind of this rivalry. Like, and I don't know if you call it a rivalry. We've had 3 games with Georgia prior to this, all were very close, less than 7 points. This was the biggest lead or biggest win of any team in this rivalry. But Georgia was 3-0 coming into this game.
Yeah.
And Notre Dame was 0-3. So I don't know. It's close, 3 close games prior, but they've won all 3 of them. So anyway, getting into that, it was hot. It was solid. Just to be there, I think the neutral site feel was pretty good.
Yeah.
Both bands got a chance to go out before the game and play. Both teams got a good, solid entrance coming in. The music was a little weird because they played a lot of songs that I'm familiar with from Notre Dame Stadium, but they didn't play them at the time or the location that I'm used to hearing them.
Yeah.
And I think it's just just general songs, like general crowd songs. It wasn't like the Notre Dame.
Yeah.
It was songs I'm used to, but not the Notre Dame timing of those songs, that kind of thing. There was a light show prior to the kickoff, which was kind of okay.
Yeah.
National anthem I thought was freaking awesome.
Yep.
She rocked the national anthem, and I mean it was just solid. And I think that it was kind of cool, the whole chanting of USA, USA by both fan bases after the national anthem, kind of a just resolve thing, continue that patriotism, that kind of a thing, and then we get into the game.
Yeah, I think we got to get into the game at this point. I mean, everything, the scenario, everything around the game, crazy. I mean, but this game, I mean, is what Notre Dame fans have been wanting for such a long time, right? Like, this is a moment, like, we've talked about this. The IU game, yes, we won a playoff game, but doesn't count. And I was more like, it's a great win. It's the biggest win in a long time for me, just because I haven't seen us win a postseason game in my life. Like, I haven't seen us win this big bowl game. And I know it wasn't a bowl game, but I think we're both in agreement that this definitely counts. I mean, this is a quarterfinal.
This
New Year's 6.
New Year's Day.
Yep.
New Year's 6 win. Like, this is a big win. This is a win we haven't had in the program for 30 plus years.
Yeah, exactly.
And this checked that box for me. I needed this for my fandom. I needed this, and we got it.
Yeah.
So I was thrilled, to say the least, that we were able to knock that one out.
Yeah.
But again, and Georgia especially, when you look at Georgia, they've won multiple national championships in the last few years.
Yeah, 2 of the last 3. They felt like they got robbed last year, not making it in. If they make it in, tough to convince any of them that they're going to not win that one if they get it in last year.
And I think prior to the previous days, Ohio State shellacking of Oregon, everybody thought Georgia was the odds-on favorite.
Yeah.
All the pundits, a lot of people were picking Georgia. There was a few picking Ohio State, but
Oregon, yeah.
And Oregon, but yeah, it was just like a lot of people favored Georgia because the mystique of the SEC, which now we have to talk about that at some point.
Yeah.
Is the SEC still a good conference? I think so. Is there a lot of good teams in the SEC? I believe so. Is there more parity in college football now than ever? I think the NIL and transfer portal have created that environment. So we'll talk about that in a future podcast. So
yeah, but all right, let's get into this game. I mean, we win the toss and elect to defer. I think both of us are generally excited about that choice.
Yeah.
I mean, normally, and Maddie always asks me this, what do we want? Do we want the ball or not? I tell her, whatever we get, we're excited for.
Yeah.
But I think in this game, we both knew we wanted defense first. I mean, we wanted to set the tone. Our defense is going to come out. Can our D-line get the push? Can we go make plays?
Yeah. Is our D as good as we think it is?
Yeah.
Right? Let's find out right now. It's the strength of our team.
Yep.
Let's start with that. And we started well.
Yeah, I mean, first play, loss of 2 yards. We just come up and make a freaking, just hammer him on the run, right? ETN's, his brother, obviously at the Jags. His brothers beat us in the past. Very good running back. And can Georgia run the ball? Can Notre Dame run the ball? I think there are questions coming into this game. And
yeah,
both teams, I think, at different points did so and did not. So, yeah, I mean, we pin them back, get them to 3rd and 12, and then we get a pass interference call and give them a fresh set of downs, basically.
Yeah.
Stinks, but, I mean, defense then still responds, and Georgia punts.
Yeah. Well, they go to punt.
Yep.
And we get them in a 3rd and 17?
Yep.
Before the punt?
Yeah.
And then Young, who's been phenomenal punt block.
I think 3rd and 22.
Was it 3rd and 22 though initially?
Because, yeah.
Yeah. So, yeah, who's been phenomenal punt blocker. He comes in and we put the pressure on. And I think we got lucky there. Like, I think the pass interference was a little call, but they called it. They could have very easy called us roughing the kicker and gave the automatic first down.
Yep.
We got a break and they called running into the kicker. So it was just 5 yards, not a first down. Whoosh, we got lucky. Second attempt for them to punt, we did the same thing again. We ran into the kicker. Now, the second kick running into the kicker wasn't nearly as bad as the first one.
No.
But the fact that we done it 2 times in a row.
Same guy.
Oh, here it comes. They're gonna give us the penalty. They called running in the kicker again. Now Georgia declined that penalty because it was still, again, 3rd and 17 at that time. That had made it 3rd and 12. It was a decent punt. We didn't return it.
Yeah.
So we started off a little rocky to say the least. We started off good defensively, special teams.
Yeah.
There were some errors there. There was the pass interference error, and we don't have a lot of penalties. And all of a sudden, it's like we're 3 minutes into this game. We've got 3 freaking penalties already.
Yeah.
What's going on?
Yeah. And then obviously we get the ball, and it wasn't pretty off the bat. I mean,
no, but I didn't expect it to be, right?
Yeah.
I mean, we knew the Georgia defense was probably the best front we'd seen all year.
Yep.
A&M was good. Indiana wasn't as advertised.
Yeah.
But they were good, but not as advertised.
Yeah.
But USC, I think, had a better front than Indiana.
Yep.
And so we knew Georgia was going to. I mean, there's 2 NFL top first round picks probably.
Yeah.
On that Georgia defensive front, so we knew that we're going to have a work cut out to run the ball on them. So I guess slow start offensively, but not surprised by it.
Yeah.
I think we expected a low scoring game. I think we kind of talked about it being a slugfest, and it was a game. I think you told Maddie this. It's a game for people who love defense.
Yeah.
And that's what we expected. So
Yeah.
not happy with our start, but not surprised by it because we knew what we were up against.
Yeah. Now we go and punt the ball, right? And Georgia gets the ball back.
Yeah.
And I think this is the point where both like Georgia gets the ball pretty deep in their own territory. I'm trying to remember exactly where at, but I mean they drive 13 plays.
Yes.
It's a long drive. They kind of get down like, this is not exactly what you want to see, but we get back into that South Bend, don't break defense. We kind of start to stop them up a little bit, right?
Yeah.
And I mean, then you get to that 3rd and 1, 3rd and 2, 3rd and short.
Yep.
They give the ball to ETN. Over 400 carries in the kid's college career.
Yeah.
Never fumbled the ball.
He got walloped.
He got crushed.
Wow.
Yeah.
I mean, it was textbook stopping the run. We hit the man, ball on the freaking helmet on the ball.
Yep.
Knocked it loose.
Osbury recovers for the Irish.
Yeah. So it's like awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome. Like, okay, here we go. Now we're in business, right?
Yep. We go a little bit better on offense. Get a first down, 5 plays, 20 yards though.
Yeah. Not the momentum swing we were looking for after that play.
Yep. Got a little bit of a run going again. A little bit of the run going. Rylander completed a couple really short passes, but yeah, not exactly what we're looking for, but ended that with a punt. But I think the defense showed at that point it's going to be a long day for Georgia's offense.
Yeah. It was clear that our defense could hang, and it was clear that our offense was going to struggle. And if you're a Georgia fan, you probably said, they can't move the ball on us, or our defense is going to do the job. Now, can our offense make plays? And you felt better as a Georgia fan because they did have that long drive that ended with the fumble, but you had to feel better that they had that drive.
Yeah.
Notre Dame, we hadn't had that drive yet at this point.
Yep. So that gets you into the first quarter. I mean, Georgia gets the ball back, and here they come kind of again. 5 plays, 55-yard drive.
Well, that's why they had the big pass on this drive, right?
Yep, they had the big pass, sets up the field goal, trying to find that pass. But anyways, long 55 plays, 55 yards. But then we do stop them, and we force them to a field goal there.
Yep.
So,
and this is we got to talk about this. Everybody's making way too much big of a deal on social media about this, walk-on player who was a step inside the white line, and whether it should have been called or not called, the referee, was too far back. Whatever you want to say, it took 15 yards off the end of that run.
Yep.
But it is not the reason they didn't score.
Nope.
It's not the reason that Georgia was 0 for 3 on 4th downs and 3 for 12 on 3rd downs. I mean, it's not the reason that they didn't win. So leave the kid alone. Yep. He was excited. He was literally a step too far. And I think had the referee looked shook up on that play. I didn't know why, but at the end of that play, I said to you, The referee's hurt. I think he tore his ACL or something.
Yeah.
Because he was kind of hobbling. I think had he not hit the kid in such a way that hurt him, he probably wouldn't have dropped the flag.
Yeah.
Because he was toward the Georgia side of the white stripe. He wasn't up hucking the line where that kid was way over. But in the moment, he got hit by a player. He didn't know what was going on.
Yep.
He had to make that call because the kid shouldn't have been. He was always only a step. The kid shouldn't have been there. But no death threats to the kid. Leave him alone. Right? It wasn't a big deal. We held Georgia to that defense, or defensively we held Georgia to the field goal there, and they got up 3-0 at that point.
Yeah, 3-0. Irish get the ball back, and I think it's the first time we kind of seen Notre Dame offense settle into the game.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm trying to think. 8 plays, 50-yard drive, in just under 4 minutes there for the Irish to drive, end up down, and get in a field goal. I mean, we saw some Riley runs. We saw some Faison get into the game, and Faison, I think, had a great game against IU, and he played very well against Georgia as well. But you knew Georgia and Kirby Smart was going to try to limit him, I think, just because you could see how explosive a playmaker is. So, 4 catches for 40, 50 yards. I'm trying to remember. But, I mean, a very good game for Faison. Like, I'm not saying, but you could tell Georgia was definitely trying to slow him up.
Well, I felt like Georgia attacking Notre Dame at this point, they were trying to run to the outside, and they found no success there. They tried running up the middle, which I think they knew they were going to have a hard time doing. And I think they felt like they could throw on us, and they hit a couple of slant routes across the middle of the field early.
Yep.
We had to make some adjustments, take that away, and they hit, like I said, the one deep out route. But overall, I mean, I think Georgia was probably a little frustrated that they couldn't do offensively what they thought they could do against us.
Yep.
But I think we were frustrated initially at what we could do, and I think we found that, we kept. I still don't know why we tried running Love up the middle as much as we did instead of getting him to the outside. Because when Price came in and made some bounces to the outside, he clearly showed there was opportunities.
Yeah.
Some great planned runs from Riley Leonard.
Yeah, I was going to say, this drive, he has a 32-yard run that basically gets us into your field goal range.
And we talked about Riley Leonard in the pregame. Like, Riley Leonard is going to have to win this game for us. This is a game where I felt like Riley Leonard was going to have to win it for us.
Yeah.
I thought he was going to have to win it throwing. I said 3 or 4 20-yard plus passes.
Yeah.
He didn't give us 3 or 4 20-plus yard passes.
Yeah.
But he gave us some big runs with his feet.
Yeah.
And so that drive, he ran and got us into position that we wanted to be in.
Yep.
Allowed us to have Mitch Jeter come in, 47-yarder?
Yes, 44 yards.
44 yards.
44 yards. Still a big kick.
Yeah.
Especially kid. I mean, he's been injured. We know all that. Hits a couple kicks, goes 2 for 3 against IU. And it's not just that. It's like, all right, we can't get this blocked. We've seen too many block kicks this year.
Can't have the left side give up a block. I mean, we're just going to have the pressure on, the rush on.
Yep. So, I mean, that was part of it. Like, okay, if it doesn't get blocked, it's going to make it. And first step, though, don't get it blocked. So, yeah. He makes that kick and ties this game up 3-3. I mean, it was a huge play there.
Big kick.
Yeah. No doubt there.
What's Mitch Jeter's number?
98, right?
98. Yeah.
Yep.
Keep that in mind.
98. Okay. Yeah.
There's a theme here.
Yeah.
There is. All right. So he hits a big kick. We go back, kick off to Georgia. Really, they're having very little success at that point.
Yeah.
Offensively. We end up getting the ball back.
And that's with, let's say it's 3-3, and that's under the 2-minute warning, right?
Was it under the 2-minute warning?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure. We're under the 2-minute warning here. Notre Dame gets the field goal. Oh, I'm ahead of myself. No. Okay.
I thought it was under the 2-minute warning. We went up 6-3.
Yep, so that's my mistake. So, yeah, it's 3-3. I think both teams then go punt, correct?
Yeah.
Georgia gets the ball, doesn't do really anything, punts. We get the ball, we punt back to Georgia.
Yep.
And then Georgia gets it and punts, and then we drive down and get a field goal.
Drive down and get the second field goal with just under 2 minutes.
Yep, 10 plays, 32 yards. Ray Leonard with a couple more runs. Faison with a little bit more. I think Grayhouse catches one on that drive as well, and puts us up. And Mitch Jeter kicks a 48-yarder that
was
time.
The 48-yarder. Okay. Yep. So, yeah, at this point, you could kind of tell the Georgia fans that we were sitting around were getting a little anxious because they had some success early and were feeling good. They were starting to stall offensively.
Yep.
And the Notre Dame fans, we were all starting to feel better because we were stalled early, and now we're starting to have some drives.
Yeah.
They've 2 drives and ended in field goals, but we've had some drives. We're moving the ball. And if this game's a classic SEC 1990s game where it ends 9-6, we're feeling good about it, right?
Yep.
I mean, if that's what this ends up being. So So then we kick the ball off to
Under a minute.
and we fully expect Georgia to just take the knee. I think you and I talked about it.
Yeah.
Do they run plays or they take the knee and go to the locker
Yeah.
room? It's like, oh, you got to take the knee and go to the locker room, right? Just
Yeah.
you're down 3. You don't want to give up any momentum.
Young quarterback.
75
yards to go. Like, not really in a great position.
Yeah.
Not easy getting field goal range. I think they had 2 timeouts at this point.
I think they did.
But yeah, Georgia snaps the ball and drops back, not just a run play. And
I thought they did anything. Maybe just hand it off the middle, run up the outside, whatever. But yeah, run it. No, they tried to throw it.
And they didn't throw it, I don't think, did they?
No, they did not get that pass off.
R.J. Oben comes off the end and just...
R.J. who?
Yeah, R.J. Oben.
Yeah, I mean, he was a highly recruited transfer from Duke. Everybody was excited about him.
Yeah.
He's played okay, but he's not been outstanding this year. He was outstanding then.
Yeah. And then
absolutely.
Junior Tolikamaka just comes on around the corner and picks up that little fumble.
Just jumps on it.
Yep.
So now we're in business. I mean, the lid from the Notre Dame perspective was just getting ready to come off this game. I mean, the buzz from the Notre Dame side, the Notre Dame fans was just through the roof because now we're in business.
We're up 6-3 and got the ball inside the 20.
Yeah, it's like we're in red zone.
Yep.
And I'm like,
I believe 13-yard line.
I'm like, if nothing else, we're going to go up 9-3 in this game. Like, you know, there's just, and I'm just expecting us to run the ball and just try and pound the rock, protect it.
Yep.
Well, I guess Mr. Denbrock had other plans.
RPO, right?
RPO.
Yep.
And it was a beautiful throw by Riley to Bo Collins.
Yep.
I mean, and Bo Collins was well covered by that defensive back.
Yep.
That ball was placed where Bo Collins could use his strength and his ability to box out, get a ball, and it was the opposite end of the field from us.
Yeah.
But I think they probably heard us yelling and screaming from our end.
Yeah.
Like we were freaking so hyped at that point.
Yeah. I mean, go up 13-3 into the half. It's like, we were talking about this. We didn't think this game was getting more than a score away. Like,
shocked that we're
up 10 at halftime.
Just shocked.
Yep.
And we knew, like, I think you were talking about it with me at that point. You're like, okay, we won the last 4 minutes of the second half or first half.
Yep.
Now we got to win the first 4 minutes of the second.
Yeah. No, there's a known to do it.
Middle eight. That Marcus Freeman.
Middle eight. Yep.
Marcus Freeman's always talking about the middle eight. The last first four.
Yep.
Win that middle eight.
Yep.
That's always important to him. So halftime was good. A couple of band performances. Everything was cool. Chance to collect our breath, but not getting any less excited, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, 13-3, you know it's a lot of football. If you got 30 minutes, this Georgia team's been a second-half team, 8 times this year they've trailed in the second half and came back and won the game.
Exactly. They're no stranger to this position.
They're not uncomfortable. We're very used to playing with the lead, so we're not uncomfortable.
Yep.
It was definitely just going to be interesting what was going to happen, and we were definitely – it seemed like the longest halftime. I was like, all right, let's get this going. Like,
it did seem like a long halftime.
Like, it's 13-3, and both bands came out and performed. Great job. Yada, yada.
And when we got the field goal to go up 6-3, I'm excited because it's like, well, they're going to run the ball out. We're going to get the ball start second half. We're getting this basically almost a 2-for-1 here.
Yep.
And then we turn around and score, and it's like we're definitely getting the 2-for-1, almost a 3-for-1.
Yeah.
Opportunity right here. So opening kickoff second half.
What was that number you remind me of earlier?
98.
Yeah. Jaden Harrison shot out 98 yards.
So to keep the 98 theme going, what was the run that sealed the game for IU for Jeremiah Love?
I believe that was 98 yards.
And what was the distance of that pick six for Christian Gray?
98 yards, wasn't it?
It was 98 yards. I was trying to figure, I'm like, what is so special about 98 with Notre Dame this year?
Yeah.
And I can't figure it out.
Yeah.
Like, I know Marcus Freeman, refers to the team as misfits.
Yeah.
And I think that CVS had a line of misfit toys based off the Christmas classic that you could get. I think that came out in 98. There was a punk rock band that was called the Misfits that were on tour in 98, but no Notre Dame connection there.
Yeah.
I can't figure out what the 98 DJ Cool song came out in 96, maybe 97.
Yeah.
I was like, what is so special about 98? It was Bob Davies' second year as coach.
Yeah.
In his first year, I always think 97 was Bob Davies' first year.
Yeah.
It was also the first year of the expanded stadium where we went from the 58,000, 59,000 to 80,000. It's kind of where we started blocking off the view of touchdown Jesus the field.
Yeah.
So I felt like, maybe I'm not superstitious, but I am
a little stitious. Yes.
Like maybe this was 97, 98 time period where we just bad karma from the way we redid the stadium. But you fast forward to the Crossroads projects, and that was finished in 17, 18.
Yeah.
So, like, I don't know what's special about 98 at this point. I can't figure it out. But 98's been a number for us the last few games.
Yeah.
4 in a row, 98's been a significant number. So, I don't know how, but I expect 98 to come up big somehow for us in the Orange Bowl.
Is Jeter hitting a walk-off or what?
I don't know, but I expect 98 to be big in the Orange Bowl. That's all I can say. Some 98 somewhere is going to be something. Maybe it's 98 total passing yards for Riley Leonard. I don't know.
He ate more than he had against Georgia, right?
Yes, exactly. So, yeah, Jaden Harrison hits that freaking 98-yard return, and, it's electric at that point. At that point, I am so hyped, so juiced. I cannot believe we are up,
20-3.
20-3, 17 points on. Nowhere in my wildest dream did I think we were going to be up 17 points on Georgia. Is it possible? Yeah. Defensive score, maybe if we do it that way. We didn't get a defensive score, we got a special team score. But it was crazy. But Georgia, as expected, they responded.
I mean, I think they come out and punt next drive.
Yeah.
Because, I don't think they're ready to go on offense quite yet. We surprised them a little bit. But, they come out and punt, and then we get the ball, 3 plays, 2 yards, and then we end up punting.
Yep.
But then Georgia gets the ball back, and then here they come, right? 5 plays, 63 yards, and a touchdown.
Yeah, and that was just linebacker missed his assignment, let the running back out of the backfield on
play action.
Sucked in on that one, trying to stop the run. But
right in front of us too.
Yeah, you still feel good. I mean, it's like crap.
20-10.
20-10. We're still up 10, but you still feel good about it.
Yeah, definitely.
So yeah, but then I think the game it just continued to be a defensive slugfest for the most part from there.
Yeah, Irish get the ball back, have a little bit of a drive, and get about midfield, and a big 4th down decision comes up for the Irish, first one of the day.
Yeah.
And Irish have been very aggressive. Marcus Rune's been very aggressive, but this one doesn't pay off for us.
No, and I thought this was interesting. I heard this afterwards where it was 4th and 1, and we're on our 50, yes, somewhere on midfield.
Yeah. Between the 45s.
And Marcus is deciding whether he's going to go for it or not. And him and Denbrock are talking back and forth on the headphones. And as legend has it, Al Golden pipes in and says, "Go for it. We got your back."
Yeah.
As the head coach who's being aggressive, the last thing you need to hear is the defensive coordinator saying, "Go for it. I got your back."
Yeah.
But we went for it and didn't get it.
Yeah.
But what happened? Georgia didn't get a first down that drive.
Georgia, I believe, did, and then got pushed back a little. No, they didn't. My bad. 4 plays. Yep, there's a lot of penalties that drive, right?
Yeah, it was a really sloppy, but yes.
Because I think a false start, and then did we jump off sides? Because it was 4th and 3, went to 4th and 8, and then back to 4th and 3, and then turnover on downs.
Yeah, and then we had this turnover on downs. And so, it was literally, Al Golden was like, "I got your back."
Yep.
He had his back.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Denbrock, I got your back. So I know that there was a sequence that Notre Dame media put out here, I think it was last year, on the play call. And
I think it was Duke last year, honestly.
It was a Duke game last year on the winning drive. I hope we get something similar to that after the season for that series or soon, because that would be freaking phenomenal to hear the whole conversation going on between the coaches.
Yeah.
And just and again, how much is proprietary information they don't want to share, give away secrets or whatever, but just to hear the
headset,
go for it. Should we go for it? Let's consider it. Yeah, let's do it. Analytics say this, and then Golden to pipe in and say, "I got your back." I hope we get some of that released, because that will be awesome, entertaining video. So anyway, then we get the stop, and I think from there is when we went down and made the next field goal. Right?
Yeah, we went 8 plays, 29 yards. Didn't have to go too far, but 8 plays in 4 minutes and 18 seconds, and then get the field goal. Mitch Jeter 3 for 3 on the day. This one a 47-yarder.
Yeah, and at this point, it felt like Notre Dame could drive. We couldn't dominate, but we could drive.
Yep.
And we felt like Georgia was being stalled again. Okay, we had the bad series, but now we're back to stalling them again. And then it goes back to Georgia ball, right?
Yep, Georgia ball. They go 11 plays, 66 yards, and turn the ball over again on downs.
Yep. Another tough break.
Yep.
And
that's in the 4th quarter. This is now 4th quarter action.
Yeah. And then we get the ball back deep
Yeah, I'm trying to
Georgia
remember where that was at. Yeah, if I can see the yard markings here.
22-yard line, somewhere around
Yeah, somewhere around there. I mean, it's deep in the Georgia territory.
Yeah. So we kind of have a few decent plays, but we get ourselves to 4th and 1
At the 19.
at the 19. It was 4th and 1 at the 19.
Yeah, so we got it. Yeah.
Is this not the most gutsy call you've ever seen by a coach ever?
Notre Dame?
Notre Dame.
Yeah.
I mean, so what happens here is Notre Dame sends out the punt team.
Yep.
Which is what you fully expect.
Yep.
And we're just thinking Randall hit one of these 6-second hang time 70-yard bombs. Right?
And he's punted very well this game.
Yeah. We just this is when we need one of these big kicks, right? We've got a lead.
We're up 13. We're up 2 scores.
We're up 2 scores. We got a lead. We just need you to pin Georgia deep. That's what we need. And we're sitting there and we're just like, okay, need a big kick here. Need a big kick here. And
we're joking, actually, the joke we make is, what if this is a fake and Rendell, who's the rugby guy, we need to see one of these big rugby runs.
Because we had 3 gunners lined up, would have been the left side.
Yep.
And no one on the right.
Yeah.
And we're like, are they going to run Rendell right? Because he's a 6'6" rugby.
He's a big dude.
He's not just a little tiny frail punter. He's a big dude. Like, let him have one guy to run over to get a yard. Maybe.
Yeah.
So we joked about it as this whole thing's setting up. And as we're joking, all of a sudden, we just see the Notre Dame.
We thought motion at first.
Start to motion. And I thought, are they going swinging gate? What are they doing here?
Yeah.
And they just kept going on. and then you saw 11 guys coming on.
Yeah.
And I think we're like, what is going? Like, I'm losing my mind. Like, what
are we doing?
Trying to figure this out. And my quick reaction is they're trying to get
Georgia
to burn a timeout.
Yeah.
Which if that's all that happened,
because Georgia has 2 timeouts, I think, at this point.
2 timeouts plus the 2-minute stoppage.
Yep.
So get Georgia to burn that timeout and give them 1 timeout and 2-minute stoppage.
Yep.
That was brilliant play. That was brilliant thought process. Like, okay, you're going to force them to use a timeout unnecessarily here.
Yeah.
And then punt. Great. Good idea. I'm like, okay, they're going to force a timeout.
Yeah.
And the timeout's not coming. The referee goes over the top of the ball and he's letting Georgia sub.
Which is what he's supposed to do.
Which is what he's supposed to do. And
I think it was a little long because they had too many guys on the field at some point, or too many guys around on the field, but whatever.
Yeah. He maybe gave him a little bit too much time, but I guess Coogan was given the cue that if Georgia jumps, snap the ball. Otherwise, we're taking the timeout. Right? That was kind of the planned play. It's been planned. They kind of had this in their book. They felt like they could get Kirby Smart to take the timeout there. That statistics, they knew he would take the timeout there to give his team a chance to reset, which would have been a smart timeout for him to take.
Yep.
But they jump. We get the ball snapped to Riley. No one's going out for a pass except Bo Collins.
Yeah.
And it was a free play. Like, if the ball's picked off, it didn't matter because it was a free play. And that ball didn't miss Bo. He was well defended, but the ball didn't miss him by much.
No.
Had he caught that ball, wow.
Oh, my goodness.
That would have been, it's legendary play, but it goes down in folklore at that point. So, missed the ball, but we got the first down. And then Notre Dame, at that point, the offensive line took over. The offense took over. And we just imposed our will on Georgia.
Crushed the clock.
I did not see that coming at that point in the game.
Yeah.
Us to just impose our will and run the ball down the field and just make the Georgia defense feel hopeless.
Yeah. I mean, it was just like, this is freaking awesome. This is Notre Dame football. I mean, you know what I mean? Like, we're ground and pound. We're going to out-physical you. And we've seen that so many times for Notre Dame, but we haven't seen it against this SEC, Georgia style defense.
Yeah, no, I mean, this was the best defense we've played.
Yeah.
And you can say that Georgia had the backup quarterback, and they didn't have the receivers they've had historically. But this was still Georgia's defense. This was Kirby Smart's defense. This was national championship level defense. I mean,
2-3 weeks to prepare.
Yes. I mean, and it wasn't about being unprepared. It was about just wanting it more.
Yeah.
It was just about wanting it more and being able to dig deep and force your will on your opponent late in the game. And it was awesome to see Notre Dame do that because I was having flashbacks of 2012 and just the thumping we got from Alabama.
Yeah.
And just
it's out physical us by.
We got out physical. Just 60 minutes of just getting our butt kicked, and it was like I knew we were a better defensive team than we were then. But man, I didn't know our offensive line could do that. When I go back and I think about A&M and how, Jagasaw was injured and, like our line didn't have a lot of starts. And I think we were talking about the A&M game, like our combined starts in our offensive line was like 6 or something like that compared to, A&M had players with 6 and 7 starts, kind of thing. So it was awesome to see how the line has matured and come around and for us to be able to put ourselves in a position where we could literally dominate and run that ball the way we did. And just, with Riley Leonard, with Price.
I was going to say, Riley has so many just huge runs on this drive.
First down.
Yeah. The first down where he just puts his body on the line. You've seen all the things on social media about the coaches telling him to slide, and they've stopped by this point. He's just going to go do his thing, and they know they're not going to stop him. And that was just a prime example of Riley knew where he had to get, and no one was stopping him.
And he was willing. He just refused to let the team lose.
Yeah.
And I think the best part is Riley's such an aw-shucks, easygoing kid most of the time.
Yeah.
And he didn't get cocky, but he got up and gave it that first down signal. Just a little bit of swagger, and it was like, there you go, Riley. Don't need a lot of that, but just a little bit every now and then makes you more likable to me.
Yeah, exactly. And
I've grown to like the kid over the last few weeks.
Yeah, he's definitely grown into the role. He's definitely he's gotten into the swing. And I don't think, we'll talk about this more as the offseason, but just how big him not having that spring and summer was, being injured. You can see how much more comfortable he is in this offense now.
Yeah, it makes you think how good we might have been. I don't know, because we probably would have beat NIU.
Yep.
And we'd have probably lost one along the way somewhere else. And that's the other thing I wanted to look at was what year did Helmut graduate high school? Was he a 98 high school graduate?
I don't know.
I got to look that up.
Yeah.
Connection.
I don't think so. I think he's 02 or 03, but I'm not sure.
A little older than that,
Yeah.
or a little younger than that. Okay. I just got to look that up. Like, maybe it's a Thomas Hammett connection in 98. But
also, what did Coach Hammock tell Coach Freeman that gave him that advice? Oh, there was weaknesses. So we got to dive into that this offseason, too.
Yeah, that's something we got to find out more about. Maybe we can get a hold of Coach Hammock at some point and have that conversation.
That's wishful thinking there, huh?
Yeah, maybe. So we'll see. But yeah, so we pretty much at that point it's game set match as we make that drive.
We're just pounding Georgia down. Crushing the clock. I think that drive was 7 or 8 minutes.
Yeah.
We give them the ball. We ended up punting, which it's like if we would have scored on that drive, that would have been freaking awesome. But we punt. Okay. Yeah. But we didn't punt till under that 2-minute mark.
Yeah, they got the ball back after the 2-minute timeout.
With
one timeout. And
did they have a timeout?
I think they had one. Or they burned it.
I think they burned all their timeouts. So we're up 13 points. They've got no timeouts.
Yeah.
Because they had to burn it on us running the ball.
And down 2 scores.
Yeah. And down 13 points. Yeah.
So
it's a thing where it's like, oh, I should feel so much better right now than I do right now. And I'm sure all of you guys listening to this know that exact feeling. Like, we're up 13 freaking points. George got the ball 2 minutes left, no timeouts, and I still just feel uneasy. Like,
just don't collapse.
Just finish, right?
Yeah,
just finish. And we've seen these late scores that Notre Dame's let up all year, but it's been in when freshmen are in third string, and it's like, okay, whatever. Let's see these ones go out and finish, though.
Yeah, and we did.
Yeah, turnover on downs, 4 plays. Georgia lost 3 yards, I think, that drive, and just our defense was just all over them.
Yeah, and Heinisch, little Heinisch, his brother becomes just a dominant force at Notre Dame, and everybody's like, he's small, but
dude loves this university.
He's got a motor,
yeah.
And I'm glad he's in an Irish uniform. That's all I can say.
What a freaking way to end that game.
Yeah, and he made a great freaking stop there at the end. For the Irish. So yeah, that gets us into the post game celebration.
Yeah,
man. At this point, I don't know. We've had some big games.
Yeah.
I've been excited about big games.
Yeah.
I don't know that I've been this excited post-victory in 30 years. I don't think I have. I can't think of, I go back to, I know Clemson in 22, we talked about that was a big win. We've talked about some different ones. Maybe the Michigan game, and I'm trying to think what year that was, the 37, 31 asterisk 0 game on Michigan, where we just Van Gorder's bet. I was pretty excited after that game, because we knew Michigan had the big tight end Fuchs and everything else, and we just dominated them. But that was probably the biggest excitement win for me.
Yeah.
just because it was a total surprise domination. But this just as a whole team effort was just a huge, huge win.
And when you're going up against a guy like Kirby Smart, we have the utmost respect for, and just like this dude is a great coach.
Yeah.
And then you just see Marcus
Saban retired, like arguably
might be the best coach in
college football right now.
Yeah.
And
definitely. Yeah.
Yeah. So tons of respect for him.
And then just see Marcus Freeman, who we've had so much respect for. We think he's going to be a great coach, showing that he's not going to be. He already is a great coach.
He's there.
Right?
He has
like
arrived.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like
in that game,
yeah.
There's no doubt Marcus Freeman is now one of the top coaches in college football.
Yeah.
Like he is now 2 years ago, even earlier this season, you wouldn't say that. And I still go back to that, after NIU, and there was people wanting Marcus Freeman fired.
Yeah.
Like there were literally people saying he's you can't give a guy his first head coaching job at Notre Dame. It's too big. The lights are too bright. I don't care how great of a person he is. You got to have experience. Like to go from where he was 10 games ago to where he's at now.
Yeah.
It is, which Marcus Freeman is an awesome person. I mean, in all kinds of ways. I mean, just a great example of a husband and father to the players. He cares about the university. His faith is strong. He cares about his family.
Yep.
His football IQ is very high. And so we really felt like if he could bring it all together, he's bringing it together.
Yeah.
Pete Bavacqua, good deal on getting that extension done 2 games ago. Because
get Denbrock. Let's get Al Golden next, right? I want to see those come through.
Let's get Denbrock and Golden squared away.
Yeah.
And everybody talks about Golden will be up for a head coaching job. And will he go somewhere? Will he go NFL? Will he go some other college? I don't know if Golden will.
Yeah.
I mean, how good does Golden have it?
Yeah.
He's got this great young head coach.
Yep.
That listens to him, that respects him.
Yep.
He's at Notre Dame. They've got this winning program. I mean, he wanted to come to Notre Dame.
Yeah.
The whole thing was he was at the Bengals. He was a linebacker coach.
Yep.
He saw the reaction of the team to Marcus Freeman getting hired. He heard the interviews with Marcus Freeman, and he wanted to come be part of this.
Yep.
And now you got Denbrock, who loves Notre Dame, who wanted to be part of this. And I got to imagine those guys have some great conversations. I'll do this. I'd like to see those guys sit down and play some checkers. Play a little chess together. But but then you got Freeman in the whole mix, and I don't know. I mean, we're going to lose coaches in the offseason.
And that's what great programs do.
That's what happens. And I don't want to lose Mickens. I don't lose any of our coaches.
Yep.
I like the group we've got.
Yep.
But the reality is we're going to somebody. We're going to
McCollum,
lose somebody. Like we're going to lose somebody. But if Golden goes, I mean, we've got Mickens to step in.
Yep.
Right? I mean, like he's assistant head coach. So
yeah.
I'm kind of hoping we can keep the band together here for another 2 or 3 years.
Yeah.
And then, Golden can retire because he's not young, but win a few national championships, retire, let the young guy take over and have a run.
Yep.
Coach Freeman, we're looking for a 10, 15-year run out of Coach Freeman.
Yep. I'm planning on being at the statue pavilion, right?
And hey, the day that Coach Freeman retires, and I don't think he'll ever coach anywhere else. I think he retires from Notre Dame. Get a year or two, get your statue up. I mean, that's just start the process at that point. If he wins the Natty this year, start making the statue.
Yep.
And it's got to be him walking to the locker room with the team. Like that's got to be the statue of him.
Yeah.
Just get the mold, get everything ready to go. So when he retires, we're ready to put it up.
Yeah.
Pick a gate, give it to him. He's got to win 2 more games though.
Yep. Got 2 more.
So we're excited now, right? I mean this was freaking awesome.
Yeah.
I think to wrap up the trip home, our plan was to drive a few hours north.
Yeah, of New Orleans.
Get out of the city, get north. And I said,
got our Sugar Bowl champ gear right off the bat, though.
Went and got our Sugar Bowl gear.
You can read that. There you go.
There you go. And the plan was to I said, best case scenario, we get just south of Nashville.
Yeah.
Get
7 hours.
Get ourselves 7 hours home the next day.
Yep.
Right? 6 hours at night, 7 hours next day. But man, I was so fired up.
Yeah.
And one is the parking garage, because it was 60%, 65%.
Yeah, I'd say 65.
65% Georgia fans.
Yeah.
So,
65 Georgia / neutral. There's about 35% after the game that was Notre Dame, I'd say.
Yeah, so I would say 65% of the fans had left after the game. There's 35% that are sticking around for the trophy ceremony. So they got us, and then we went and bought, some championship gear. So they had an easy half-hour head start on us.
Yeah.
So we got to our car out of the parking garage, and I mean, we were right out of the parking garage, like
2 minutes.
I don't think we had to stop for anything. Out of the parking garage, really quickly onto the interstate as planned.
Mhm.
It was even better than we expected. Boom, we're on 10 heading east.
Yeah.
You know, like we're heading northeast at this point. Like that was great. It worked out well.
Yeah.
We drove, a couple hours and we decided to stop,
Yep.
get something to eat.
Yeah.
And at this point, I'm thinking I need to start looking for a hotel, but I'm so freaking jacked up, I can't sleep.
Yeah.
And I think you're the same way.
Yeah.
So then we go to this restaurant, and I don't know what, 90% of the tables were full.
Yep.
Not all of them, and
Yep.
everybody's wearing red and black.
Yep.
It's a lot of Georgia fans heading northeast as well,
Yeah.
back toward Georgia.
Yeah.
So that was kind of fun. We walk in there, and it's like, I think there's one other Notre Dame fan in that.
I don't think at that point, no.
At that point, no. We walked in. We're the only fans.
And there's like booths all around the edge that are in their Georgia, and there's just like one open table right in the middle of them. Like, well, I guess we're going to be right here in the middle.
We're going to center of attention whether we want it or not.
Yeah.
But all the Georgia fans we talked
yeah.
to, they were nice. They congratulated us on the victory and told us to enjoy it. And,
Yeah.
And they were classy, which is what I expect from Georgia fans. It's been my experience over the years that it's a classy fan base. So that was kind of fun.
Yep.
But that got the juices flowing. It was like, okay, I'm not ready to look for a hotel yet. I'm so hyped. I don't know when I'm going to be able to sleep.
Yeah.
And we listened to some podcast on the way, and post game stuff on ESPN or whatever. And we're just soaking it in, enjoying the moment. And lo and behold, I think you finally got tired about.
I've been battling sickness, so yeah, I was definitely feeling it a little more.
You got the feeling it, and I was so amped I couldn't sleep.
Yeah.
I just couldn't. And so yeah, you finally slept for like 2-3 hours in the car.
Yep.
And then you woke up, and we're like Louisville at this point, or just outside Louisville. It's like
Yeah. I think Nashville because we stopped at Buc-ee's.
Okay, you woke up right before we got to the Buc-ee's, just north of Nashville.
Yeah.
We got to the Buc-ee's just north
of Nashville.
We woke up in Nashville, and then we went to the Buc-ee's, and that was just.
Yeah.
I was like, okay, now I'm like 5 hours from home.
Yeah.
now it's like, okay, I'm starting.
We rolled into Buc-ee's about 4 a.m.
But I'm starting to get a little tired, but not real tired. But I'm starting to get tired. It's like, okay, I don't know if I can make it. But you'd had a nap, so you took over driving there, and a couple hours later, I got to Louisville, and then you took over driving.
Yeah.
And I got a good solid 45 minutes.
If that. You might have slept 30.
I felt like I slept 6 hours.
Yeah.
I felt like I finally calmed down enough I could sleep.
Yeah.
So anyway, but that was awesome.
Mm-hmm.
So now it's on to the Orange Bowl.
Yeah.
And we're excited. Plan is to fly out game day, go to the stadium,
Yep.
and cheer on the Irish to a victory.
Yeah.
And Christy and Caden are going with us.
Yep.
And Caden is excited because he loves the Miami life.
Yep.
Like he's all about Miami.
He's a Miami guy, huh?
Yeah. So big cars and fancy meals and sunshine and beach. Palm trees. Caden loves all the love about South
Florida. Yep.
Yep. So all right. Anything else?
Oh no! I mean, just one experience. Everything about it. I mean, it was my first time going to any bowl game, so I was thrilled. Just a great atmosphere. Georgia fans, Notre Dame fans, and what an incredible win for the Irish.
Yeah, I mean, the game lived up to my expectations. Being, even though we won by 2 scores, it didn't feel like a dominant game by either team. But I felt comfortable a lot of the game because we did have that 2-score lead.
And we just kept making plays.
Yeah, I
mean?
didn't feel comfortable. We kept making mistakes. I'm like, we're not good enough to survive these mistakes against a good Georgia team.
Yep.
But we found a way to survive, and it was everything I could hope for in my first time attending a bowl game myself.
Yeah.
I've never attended a bowl game, so everything I could hope for in my first attending of a bowl game, especially since our team. And if we had lost that game, I would have been disappointed, but I felt good about it. Like Georgia would have found a way to win, and it won close. I'd have been like,
that sucks.
We're so close. Let's talk about how great we're going to be next year. The Cub fan comes out in you. We're going to wait till next year, but. Yeah, it was awesome to just finish that game the way it was. And now it's like, okay, now I feel like the coaches. I got to start looking at game tape. I got to start figuring out Penn State and what we can and can't do against them. I'm not convinced that they're as good as people say they are, but I don't think they're trash either.
Yep.
So we'll come back at you with a
pregame show,
Orange Bowl preview.
Yeah. So Happy New Year, everyone! Enjoy this win. I'm sure you guys have been enjoying it, and I'm sure you guys are getting ready for the Orange Bowl. We'll be coming at you with some pregame Orange Bowl action, so get ready for it, right?
That's right. Let's go Irish.
Go Irish. We hope you enjoyed this episode of the Irish 365 podcast.
You can find us wherever you get your podcast.
We are on YouTube, X, Instagram, and Facebook.
Just search for Irish 365 Pod.
And you can always reach us at our email, irish365pod@gmail.com.
Good night.
And God bless.